We are hearing a lot about the SaaS apocalypse. As we know, in early 2026, $1 trillion wiped away from the SaaS. We all know how much speed SaaS gave us, but then it brought the problem of integrations, the fragmentation of the data.
So the dumb SaaS is dying, the smart SaaS is replacing, so it's an improvement.
Equipt.ai can replace your 10 to 20 systems together with just one Equipt.ai. That's the major challenge that we are seeing nowadays. The AI models are built with a lot of probabilistic, not deterministic, and we know businesses doesn't run on probability, right? It runs on the action that's like same input, same output. We have to be a system of execution. Do not get distracted by this SaaS apocalypse. Just focus on the problem that you're solving.
If your tech stack feels more complex than it should, you're not alone. Aman is building what comes next. Right now, most companies are running on dozens of SaaS tools, and somehow everything feels more fragmented than ever. Integrations were supposed to fix that. Instead, they've become the bottleneck. Today, we're talking about what happens when that entire model starts to break. Aman, founder of Equipt.ai, calls it the SaaS-pocalypse, and she's building what comes next. Welcome, Aman.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
I'm excited to have you on today because we've known each other for a few years, and you're one of our Venture Studio cohort companies, cohort number 2, which is exciting, and you're based here in Houston. So there's a lot of talk about AI really replacing SaaS. Some people are calling it the SaaS-pocalypse. So tell me a little bit about, Equipt and what your opinion is of that.
So very good question. So definitely, we are hearing a lot, right, about the SaaS apocalypse. And the reason for that, as we know, in early 2026, $1 trillion wiped away from the SaaS, right? So before even if we talk about the SaaS is dying or what's going on, what was the history? Why the SaaS was originated, right? If we talk in early 2000s or before that, there were softwares, right? There were ERPs. And the way it used to work is you are basically, buying the heavy licenses upfront. And then from there, you have to figure out the infrastructure where you're going to host it. You have to have the IT teams to manage it. And once the system is rolled out, you're talking about, having a people to manage it, enhance it. So all this was very clumsy and needed a lot of CapEx kind of an investments. Then when the SaaS came, it solved that problem because now you were talking about at that time of having pay-as-you-go kind of a service because software became a service, right? And no need to buy infrastructure. And you are just talking about, hey, pay-as-you-go. You don't need to have any resources. And then, you are just focusing on OpEx. So that helped a lot of the companies to, go from CapEx to OpEx.
Just $50 a seat and you
exactly,
go, right?
But then what happened with that? I'll say the good future that was shown with the SaaS was, hey, you have to pay less. Then you have standardization across the businesses. And then you don't have to worry about, managing the infrastructure. But then with that, what happened? People talked about speed. We all know how much speed SaaS gave us. We got into the same problem again with the SaaS too. It solved the problem from the infrastructure perspective, but then it brought the problem of integrations, the fragmentation of the data. Because if you think about, while I was in TechNap FMC, I had 2 ERPs, 796 applications. So each application was focusing on just one business, workflows. So with that, what challenges it brought in? That you have so many applications now, you're talking about not infrastructure people, you're talking about people who know that application, know the technology behind it. And then from there, you're talking about integration on top of it because you're not able to run your operations, get the data from it. It became more of a system of record that you are doing a report. Then there's a human intervention there who is reviewing these reports and saying, okay, what can be done with this data? right? So with Equipt.ai, right, what we were always talking about, I think with AI coming into the play now, it exposed, but we were always talking from the day one when we founded Equipt that, hey, it's great to have these SaaS solutions, but SaaS cannot be a system of record. It should be a system of execution, right? Because we are talking about the business should be able to run easily through the system. They should not mold their processes because system is not able to do it. So system became very rigid. So what AI did, AI exposed them. And that's where we are hearing this more and more. So with Equipt.ai, we were always focusing on running the businesses with the right execution layer that has AI embedded into it. We are not talking about, a system of record, system of execution. There's a signals coming, how to have the intelligence built into the system, how to provide the guided execution. So that's where, when we are hearing a lot about SaaS is dying, yes, the dumb SaaS is dying, but the SaaS that is embedded, agentic SaaS, that is the one that's going to go for long. And that's where Equipt.ai comes into the play. And we are trying to be having AI embedded in every executional layer of our system.
Interesting. So the dumb SaaS is dying, the smart SaaS is replacing. So it's an improvement. Right? Yeah. So Equipt.ai has a system that runs on top of the other systems then, or it replaces some of those systems. So some of the systems, the dumb systems, are getting replaced with Equipt.ai, and some are running maybe underneath it? Or?
So Equipt.ai can replace your 10 to 20 systems together with just one Equipt.ai, because what we are doing is we are focusing on managing the whole businesses that are into the heavy equipments and the services. Services can be in the field and the shop. So I'm talking about the industries that are either in energy industry. We are heavily in the oil and gas, renewables, data centers, the equipment rentals. So all these industries, if you talk about, they need a system that can manage their assets. They know where their equipments are, tools are, they should know where their people are, they should be able to dispatch their people and equipments right time to the customer, able to generate the revenue on time and get paid, right? That's what this is, right? Code to cash simplified with the embedded AI. So what we are doing is with Equipt.ai, as we can run this whole operations. So any system that was touching these individual fragmented workflows, we are replacing those all systems from there. However, how we do this is we do it in a Lego block concept, because if we go to our customer and say, hey, we can replace your 10 to 20 systems, it feels overwhelming because change management becomes a challenge. So the way we go is that, hey, you tell us your pain point, right? Whichever is your major pain point, that's where the Equipt.ai will be launched first. And then slowly we replace their other systems. And that's what happened with most of our customers that we have today. We started with one function, and now their whole operations is running from code to cash in Equipt. So we call ourselves ORP, not ERP, because we don't take care of your accounting, but we help you to set your or run your business fully with the guided execution.
And the O is for?
O is for operationals.
Operations.
So we help with operation resource planning.
I see.
Yeah.
So, and you're handling both software and hardware then, right? So some of these companies have a lot of assets. And so you're helping manage those assets and deploy those assets and account for them and bill for them, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So we have like our customer, if I have to take in oil and gas industry itself, there are companies like OFS, right? Technip FMC, I'll say, is, that's where my journey started. And we learned a lot about the asset heavy industry, is where there are equipments. You are not directly giving your equipments as you're renting a car. You're basically using these equipments and your technicians to perform a service. So like you're sending your crew with your right equipments, and I'm not talking about just one equipment, I'm talking about like a big assemblies. So let's say if it's a frac job, you're sending an assembly that has to be first built into the shop, and your right competent crew that's going in the field and operating it. So with Equipt.ai, these companies, how it works is they can give the visibility to their sales team, saying that, okay, if a customer calls in and say, hey, I have a frac job, can you fulfill this? So earlier, without Equipt.ai, they had to call somebody and figure out, okay, if it's called a frac job for, let's say, 3-well pad, do I have the equipments to build these 3 assemblies? If yes, then, hey, can we deliver it by this date? So this was all working on heuristics and calling people. But with Equipt.ai, the salesperson, as he's calling it, he gets that information directly through the phone. 3 frac assemblies, here you go, 1 to 3, it can be delivered. Now operations teams exactly know what they have to deliver it, because we have their, the pad drawings, their packages that they generally offer to their customers, all that information already plugged in. And then from their operations team is just going and, building it, giving their technician dispatcher team knows what kind of crew has to go. They can schedule it. We can automate that scheduling and dispatching part, optimize that one. And then at the end, everything is there on time to the customer, and you know what needs to be charged to the customer when.
Okay. So to me, it sounds very similar to where people are saying, oh, well, all software jobs are going away or developers are all getting replaced by AI. But what's really happening is the tools are changing, right? So in the early days, you had to write assembly language for a computer, and you had to understand the registers on the microcontroller. Then you had high-level languages, and now you have AI that is a tool that a developer can use, but you still need to know how to use those tools as a developer so you can understand what you got as an output. So I think there's similarities there for SaaS. Is that SaaS isn't going away. It's, like you said, it's getting smarter, but it's a different layer, and AI is being used to apply at the software layer. So if AI can write the code, or you can just use vibe coding to write an application, why do you still need something like Equipt or a SaaS app?
So just a little bit background about me. I started my career with writing mainframes code that's in COBOL. And if you know it, right, you need JCL to either execute or compile the code, right? So definitely, these new tools that's coming in, it's helping to deliver faster, right? So this is not about just writing a code. It's also about the architecture, right? You still need the people, right? Or you still need the solution that has a right architecture where you can run your whole execution, right? But then you have these vibe codings and all is bringing your intelligence layer or bringing the agility that you're looking for in delivering a solution faster to your customers. So that's where it's not basically replacing it. It's basically steroids given to the SaaS, right? Because now you can have your developers using this vibe coding or another tools to write the code faster. And then if you have the right architecture and if they have the knowledge how to build that into the SaaS, that's where, the game changing is.
Yeah, I think
it's a game changer.
You're 100% right on that. I mean, you still need people to figure out what architecture you need, what are the business needs, what's the business analysis, how is it structured, and then, you need to inform the AI and use the AI tool in order to get what you want out of it. Yeah.
So context layer, right? That's the major challenge that we are seeing nowadays, right? The AI, when we talk about, it does a lot of hallucinations because the AI models are built with a lot of probabilistic, not deterministic. And we know businesses doesn't run on probability, right? It runs on the action that's like same input, same output. So that's one thing that, these AI tools, there is a additional context layer that has to be added on top of these AI models to give the same output every time when the same input is given. And that's where businesses will have the advantage. And if I have to, talk about Equipt.ai in this flavor, that's where we are building a lot of context layer of this industry so that the AI can be more smarter in making the decisions that customers are looking for.
And that's really what you were adding as a company, right? You came from this, world of energy. You understood the problems and issues that the current platforms were not providing, and then you added your business expertise on top of that to create a solution for your client. Tell me a little bit about getting that first client. I mean, you're a startup in Houston. A lot of startups are interested in how to get that first client and how to work with large companies, right? And so you have a couple of I think your first client was a very large company. Tell me a little bit about how that happened.
Absolutely. So as we came from this industry, right? So we knew the do's and don'ts, right? So this is with our first customer, another founder, he was just talking to some of his acquaintance in one of the meeting. And they were just talking about like, hey, we are thinking about this Equipt.ai startup. And this startup going to be solving the issues related to the fragmentation of the data, going to be solving the problem where, human has to always orchestrate and take the decisions. And there are so many different parties involved. And that was the same problem this acquaintance was talking about from the perspective of the pre-sales, where, here as our first customer is the largest steel provider. He was talking about, okay, I have to get the steel, then I have to figure out what grade it is, what is what's the measure of it, and then what exactly customers' requirements are, and then relating it everything and ensuring that he can give a quote to the customer. So while doing that exercise, there were so many different Excel sheets he was going through, so many people he was calling, and the time when he was delivering the quote to the customer, the opportunity might have lost, right? So that is the problem that he was talking about. And my co-founder was talking about this fragmenting data. He was able to connect to it, and he was like, oh, it looks like we are talking about the same problem, but then we were focusing more at that time post sales order, post the opportunity is captured. He was talking about the pre-opportunity. So that's where he said, okay, why don't you show us, give us a demo about, Equipt.ai. And at that time, it was not even an AI. We just said Equipt. And we didn't have a domain at that time. We just presented it to the whole global. We were talking about, it's not just US based, it's the global world based company. So we have given the demo. They like the passion about us. They like the prototype that we have given to them. And the funny story is when he gave our information to his IT team, as we send the email through Gmail, he was like, are you sure you want to do a business with this company? And he was like, tell them to first go and buy the domain. And that would help us to officially get the domain equipped and then build our solution. So the one thing that I'm very appreciated about this first customer is that they believed in us, they believed in what we are trying to solve, and we were able to, show that, yes, we were not just talking, we can deliver it as well.
I think that what startups focus on, just like what you did, is that if you can find a champion on the inside that understands that has a pain point and that you can solve that pain for them, and then creating your business to essentially make that first customer insanely happy, is really how most startups should start, right? But why do you think that they had so much trust in you, right? You didn't have a domain, you didn't have a product, right? You barely had a company. So how did you sell him on the idea that you could actually pull this off?
Yeah, so I'll say this is all, I think it's the same thing happens with when you look for the funding as well. It's the founders, right? They saw that we were very much passionate about the problem. We knew the problem in and out. We knew what are the do's and don'ts. We wanted to have it in our system. And as we came from this industry, we lived in these problems, we were able to relate to him. And that's what made him to trust us. Seeing that, yes, these people know the problem, have the passion, and we have won the contract against the two big names that everybody knows. And we were able to do it because we were not just a software company. We were the people who lived into this industry.
If you are enjoying this conversation, don't miss what's next. Subscribe to Forging the Future at softtech.com/FTF, and we'll send you our ultimate guide to Edge AI. Learn how to get started with Edge AI, how Edge AI is reshaping the business landscape, and plus you'll get a checklist to evaluate your Edge AI readiness. Thanks for tuning in, and subscribe now. It sounds like after you even got that contract, that's when you first came into the venture studio at SoftTech, right? Was there a reason you joined the SoftTech Venture Studio at that point?
Yeah, so what we understood at that time for the SoftTech Venture Studio is there's two main, elements that you get if you join in. One is the tech team, and then the another one was the, help from getting the investment, right? We were bootstrapped till then. We had 2 customers by then when we came into the cohort. First one, we already had a great tech team from our past software industry experience. So that was not our challenge. Our challenge was to get the fund. And we had a very funny and interesting ride. We'll say we got a lot of criticism as part of the journey. When we were giving the pitch for the first time, they were like, oh, so what are you trying to solve? Don't you think it's too broad? And like, they were like just questions and questions and a
Like,
lot
I
of
still
criticism.
don't understand what you're doing. Right?
Exactly, right? So you were there too at that time. Like, what you guys are really trying to do? And are you competing with the big players? So those kind of criticism and like, the questions came in. There was a frustration with us. We're like, these people are not understanding our vision. Because what happened when we were talking to the prospects, they were getting it because they lived in this industry. But when we're talking about the investors, they may not be from this industry, to how to make it dummy down pitch that can be understood by anyone. So that's what I'll say we took it from the venture studio, how to pitch it to a dummy down, so that if anyone is not from this industry should able to get what you guys are doing. And that's what we got from this cohort. And then, as you know, from there, we were able to get the seed round closed. We were
Congratulations,
oversubscribed.
by the way.
Thank
You
you.
raised, $3.2 million from
It's close to that. Yep.
mostly from two mid-con VCs. I believe it's public. Moneta Ventures and Cortado Ventures invested in Equipt last year. So
that's correct.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a great motivation for us to say, okay, we are heading into a right direction.
Well, I'm happy to have helped there. And I'm proud of the fact I got you to drop the hyphen, in the domain name. But Equipt.ai is a great name. So one of the criticisms in Houston, even though we are very focused on startups and entrepreneurship, and we've got the #1 graduate level entrepreneur program here in Houston for many years, and the #1 undergrad program, right? One of the criticisms is people are very comfortable at the large energy companies here. I mean, they're paid well, they're comfortable there. And what you really need for a dynamic startup system is people willing to leave their well-paid jobs and take the red pill and become a startup. So why did you decide to do that?
So, I'll definitely say it was not an easy decision. I think, as you said, right, you get very comfortable with the compensation, the bonuses that you get. What made us to take this decision was me and my other founders. We really saw this problem. And when we were talking to the people, what we realized is this is not just a problem with that organization. It was a problem across the industry. And then when we were talking outside the industry, we realized that's not just industry, it's for any capital intensive industry. So when you know that there's a problem, a real problem that you can solve, right? That gives you a good kickstart. And that's what happened with us. And as with our first customer itself, that gave us an opportunity even before having a domain, just with the thought that boost, our passion and energy further. And that's what made us to leave the job. Another thing, what I will say is, even when I was working in these big companies, right, I have built, I have commercialized the first digital twin platform for Technip FMC. So the way I'll say the opportunity I got from the leaders within the organization was that I was given a separate team to build this solution in-house and commercialize it, because it's a manufacturing company. You are talking about building software as a service that you can commercialize. So having that kind of an opportunity inside, that gave me an understanding how these startups works. When I was within the organization, I was running a startup, but I was running within a big organization. So those hierarchies and all was slowing down, even if you wanted to do the innovation.
This is what I call an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, right? So I always been in that entrepreneur in my previous organizations. Like if I talk about even working for building this enterprise grade computer vision solution. So it was an entrepreneurship that I was doing it. But then this problem that we saw, and the first customer who validated that problem gave us a boost to say, let's go ahead and make it happen.
Okay. And then you actually started out, like you said, you were Equipt. You weren't Equipt.ai. So when did you decide to make that transition as part of your journey?
So we always knew we are an AI company, but we never wanted to go with Equipt.ai until we have the good use cases to present to our customers. So when did we do that? We did it recently, I'll say less than a year ago. We had the domain bought already, but we waited for a right time. So now we are calling ourselves Equipt.ai, because now we are offering the AI completely embedded into our any execution layer we talk in Equipt.ai. You talk about customer onboarding. So we have the customer onboarding automation AI built into it because we know the change management is a major problem. How to bring the data from other systems into Equipt.ai using AI. So that's what we built in. Then coming about the embedded AI, where we are talking about optimization or intelligence, where we are talking about, okay, there are assets, how to dispatch the assets on the time, how to automate or optimize the assets so it can go to the various jobs that customers have, how to optimize the technicians that they have, how to optimize their route. So more from that perspective. Then the predictive intelligence layer we brought in. So how to predict even before the failure happens on these equipments. Then a lot of anomaly detection AI we brought in because we are talking about, hey, if there's a price mismatch, how to tell it and correct it before, your invoice gets declined from your customer.
But what does it mean to bring in the AI? So if you're a startup and you say, well, I know I need to add some kind of AI to my product, or I'm a client or an entrepreneur as well, I want to leverage AI. How are you choosing what LLM or what tools? Like what internally are you using at Equipt to implement this AI?
So basically, we are considering AI as an additional tool. So our fundamental is how to avoid a human going and doing the orchestration of the execution. So that means, like, if I am a technician, I should have everything with me. My equipment, when I'm going for a job, I should have equipments in my hand, tools in my hand, all the documentation or all the manuals that I need, everything to be on my fingertips with me. So that was, if I consider that as a use case, right, from a technician perspective, anything that's needed in this layer, right? If I talk about the automation, if I talk about the AI, if I talk about the less number of, intuitive steps, less number of user steps, and be more intuitive. So this AI is more of an added intelligence built into it. So then technician is just doing the job for which he is meant to. He doesn't have to worry about any complexities of the software. Because at the end, you have not hired that person to do the data entry. You have hired that person to do the job in the field. So that's where, to your question, Chris, the way we are thinking of AI is we are always thinking about the problem first and how to solve this problem with having a less human intervention and more of an automation.
But is it more like a programming or programmatic AI versus, like, say I'm, attaching, Claude internally or ChatGPT internally or a custom LLM inside the company?
So it's a combination of many. So we have a lot of machine learning models built into our system. That's where I was talking about the optimization and all. That's where we have a lot of machine learning models, algorithms built into our system. That's Equipt owned. Then we are using the open source models that are available, LLMs, RAGs, available more from, helping customers to ask the questions on top of the data, more from the NLQ perspective.
The chat perspective.
Right? So that's another layer. We are not a company that's competing with OpenAI or Claude. What we are competing in an industry where, okay, how to make the execution better, right? So in that domain, we are trying to see what tools, either it be an AI, either it be a simple automation, either just like, writing maybe an extra condition, right? Or creating a digital twin. Depending on that problem, we are bringing in those kind of solutions.
Yeah, so, because really ML and AI, it's very broad, right?
Exactly.
And you don't need the full power of an all-knowing LLM in order to do a lot of things.
Exactly.
Right?
You want it to be simple, and it should be cost effective, right? It should be able to give me more deterministic responses than more probabilistic ones, right? And then at the same time, this is a simple use case that we were doing with our customer, where we were just scanning their drawing and then creating a router on top of it. We leveraged, the open source models that are available, and the answer that we were getting every time to create a router, it was always different. It was not the same. However, when we used OCR over there, we were able to, it's OCR because it's the same drawing that they give, same input, and the same router was created all the time for the technicians. So depending on, again, what the problem statement is, we pick and choose what technology to use. If that technology is a LLM model, if this is something that we have to build a machine learning model in-house, or if it's a simple an OCR, we decide that on that basis and we embed into it. So now, like, if you have your, like, a simple example is if you have your leads, right, you get a lot of these business cards here and there, right? So we brought in a functionality in our lead. If you think about it, it's a very common functionality, but it's amazing for the salespeople. They just scan their, the business cards and the information is there in the system. So that's like a simple innovation, because now they don't have to do that, manage those leads, manage those business cards somewhere else. That's automatically through a picture, it's scanned, and that information is in Equipt.ai. So that's an innovation for them.
Okay. So if you're in the elevator and you see someone's badge and it's a customer that you might want to have, I mean, do you still remember like an elevator pitch, or what's your elevator pitch now for Equipt.ai?
So Equipt.ai is an operational AI platform that let any business who own or rent the equipments, provide or receive the services, can manage their whole business within Equipt.ai. We are the execution, the orchestration layer, keeping your humans just from the providing the humans a co-pilot or an autopilot kind of a functionality.
So what advice would you give founders who are trying to navigate or potentially avoid the SaaS-pocalypse, perhaps maybe as a user or also maybe as a startup that's just in SaaS?
Yeah, I'll say do not get distracted by this SaaS apocalypse term that we are hearing a lot these days. Just focus on the problem that you're solving. If that, while you're solving that problem, see how you can embed AI in it, how you can keep the human out of the loop as much as you can. More from them just coming and reviewing the work that the software has done, or to where human feel confidence where it says, okay, go and run it in an autonomous mode. So that's where I will say focus on your pain point, focus on the problem, and let AI be embedded in your SaaS layer, in each layer of your SaaS.
Okay.
By default.
By default. All right. And so lastly, what does the future hold for Equipt.ai? How is Equipt.ai forging the future?
That's a very good one. So I'll say it's in two folds. One is for us, future is as we are very much focusing on the energy industry at this moment. We wanted to expand it to various industries, right? So that's where when we talk about equipment rentals in general, we are talking about data center boom or renewables, nuclear power. So how to expand Equipt.ai in that industry itself. The second fold of it is more around how to keep ourselves away from being called as a dumb SaaS. So how to ensure that we are not just a system of record. We always talk about, okay, hey, we have to be a system of execution. Depending on who is using it, our system should be very simple to use and should be able to help them drive the output that they're looking for. So be an agentic SaaS, if I have to say it. That's what Equipt.ai is forging for.
If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and follow Forging the Future for more conversations at the edge of innovation.